Oh,
Oh, am I saying it? Okay. Well, we can say welcome to episode 4 of Tia Tequila podcast.
I'm
I'm
Mayla.
Steph.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We're
I'm
still working
Mayla.
on this. We're still working on this, guys. We're just
Obviously, she can't control her inner Beyonce. I don't know if you heard me, but I'm Mayla.
Say my name. Say my name. She is Mayla. I'm just kidding. All right. Well, today's topic is going to be kind of just me. I'm going to just lay it out there for you. Postpartum depression is where I'm going to take off with, and it's going to be a deep topic. It's not going to be too heavy. I don't want to trigger too many people too quick, but I did get some feedback when I talked about that on the first episode. And just kind of let everybody know that I had that. So I wanted to expand on it and just talk about the fact that it is definitely just something you can't control. I am a very happy person. I am bubbly the first episode, Mayla was like, hey, I hated Steph. She was too much. She was just like in your face. That's that's always been me. That's always been me. I'm just a happy person. Even when I'm depressed, I can find the silver lining. And then I stepped into yoga at one point, really dove into that and peeled back a lot of layers, connected to myself on a deeper level and was like, I have all the tools. I have all the tools. I'm not going to get postpartum depression. I was afraid that I was going to, just because it does run in my family. It's just kind of something you can't really control. So you don't know if you're going to get it or not. And so I just tried everything. I was like, all right, meditation, yoga, this, that, the other. And I'll tell you, it just really doesn't make a difference. It does to an extent, in the sense that it helps you not fully get out of control. But it doesn't take away the feelings that you feel. I didn't want to be here anymore. I loved my kids, but I was just like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to be a mom. I'm not cut out for this. Like, clearly, I mean, look, I can't even do the dishes. I can't even get the laundry done. I can't, do any of this because I'm so stuck in my head. Sorry, I need a drink of water there. I was like, ooh, rambling, girl. But so I was so stuck in my head. And I just think that the trying so hard to not be postpartum depressed and being so angry at myself with it definitely made it difficult to get out of it and to move through it. I wouldn't say get out of it. I'd say move through it, because it's not something you can just, I'm just going to climb out of this hill. No, it's a trench. You got to keep going. You got to keep going, move through the mud, all of it. And eventually you're somehow out of it. But you always remember it, which is so weird to me. I definitely put a lot of people through hell. I think not only Brendan, being my partner and the father of my children, but my parents, a lot of my friends. I just had a lot of expectation. I wanted everyone to kind of fix me. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Fix me. I mean, I saw 2 different therapists. I mean, I tried so many different things. But really it was just like me accepting it and just like not getting angry with myself all the time is what helped me to start to move out of it. And I don't know. I think that it's a hard thing for everyone to go through, not just the person that's going through it. Like Mayla obviously went through a lot just being my friend and having to listen to a lot, because a lot of that portion of time I think was a big selfish time for me, because like I was giving to like everybody else, like in my family, in the sense with like my children, and just feeling like I just wasn't heard, didn't have time to be heard, didn't have time to even really like listen to myself. And so then I'd like call up Mela or call up another friend and just word vomit, full on word vomit everywhere. And then be like, oh, okay, like we just talked for 2 hours. Okay, bye, I gotta go. And it's like, oh, I didn't even ask you about how your life was. Or I didn't even like, it's just because I didn't have the capacity at the time. Like I truly didn't. I felt like everything was completely crumbling on top of me, and like all these rocks were just like falling in, and I was like, oh my god, I cannot breathe, I'm suffocating. And then the one moments that I would talk to a friend or be able to kind of have that escape of not feeling that would be the times where I feel like I moved a couple rocks and I was like, oh, there's a piece of light, there's a piece of light. And so I definitely think that having that is amazing, but I've been trying to take the time to recognize the people that were there the whole time. And I definitely think this is a great time for Mela to transition and just talk about how it feels to be a friend on the other side of that. Because I think that as a postpartum mom and someone that's having that type of depression and those feelings, we don't want to burden our friends. And then like when we do, like every time I would lay it on Mela, I'd be like, fuck. Oh, I'd be like, shoot, you got to bleep that. I'd be like, shoot, here I go again. I kind of feel like crap. So we don't want to burden our friends or our family with anything, but we do still need that support. And I think, you know, Mela, back to you. Back to you.
Yeah, I will say, like, you're not the only person, because even I don't know if she'll actually be comfortable with me saying this, but I'm gonna say it. If she's not, I'll take it out. But like, even Ashley, who ironically has like literally the same birthday as you, she had 2 kids within a pretty like close time period, plus, you know, a parent, like the loss of a parent, and she had pretty bad like postpartum depression as well. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of life changes all at one time. Like, so there's no shock that you obviously are not in the same like mental capacity as you were before. And I think it's interesting that like like it's not uncommon for women to get postpartum depression, but it is uncommon for women to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And it like, even I remember like years ago, Lisa Rinna came out and was like, yeah, like I had postpartum depression. I like wanted to kill myself. I like wasn't somebody you should necessarily trust to be around the kids. Like it was really bad. And this is somebody who has millions of dollars, doesn't need, like can hire somebody to help her, can hire somebody to like talk to about it. And even she suffered through it in silence. And I think that's like kind of I think that's mental health in general. It's like there's so many people who have various levels of like mental health issues who just do not feel comfortable expressing them and or do not feel comfortable reaching out for help because they can't afford it, or like they don't want to be like the stigma that comes along with it. And there's so many people, even if they have people who they are really close with, or they have friends that they're really close with, do not feel comfortable saying like, hey, like I want to kill myself, or hey, like I'm severely depressed, or, you know, any other various like level of mental like disability or mental illness. And I think even more so for women, like a lot of times they're like, oh, you know, you're totally fine, this is just normal, like, you know, give it a few weeks, you'll be over it. Or
baby blues.
Yeah, or like even like things like autism, where it's like, oh well, you know, female autism is completely different, like you don't, that's not a real thing, like, you know, only men get to be autistic. Like, what are you talking about? Like the very fact, like the very word of lunacy like goes back to lunar, which deals with the moon, which is kind of like women literally the cycle of
everything.
Exactly. So like from, I don't want to say the dawn of time, but literally the dawn of English, I guess.
The dawn of time.
Like you have, like there's been this connection between being insane and being a woman, when like 9 times out of 10, the people doing all of the crazy things are not women. Like you don't see women going out and shooting 25 people at a nightclub or a movie theater or a concert.
No, a woman shoots one person and one person only, a man.
Like, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying there are not crazy people or crazy women. Obviously, Snapped has been on TV for like 20 years at this point. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, women can't be crazy. Women can
Oh yeah.
definitively be
Oh yeah.
like
There's a reason
off the
we're called
wall
crazy. I mean,
insane.
there is. But we
But
aren't all crazy.
I think that there's actually, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but there's actually a scene in One Tree Hill. Speaking of postpartum depression, this wasn't postpartum, but when her, like, I don't know, season 8 or 9, one of the characters, Haley, her mom dies, and she goes into this huge depression. She's like completely removed from the household. Like, she doesn't really interact with her husband the same way. She doesn't interact with her kids the same way. She's kind of like rude to her son. But like her husband at one point says like, like we're all crazy. Like some of us just hide it better than others. And I just remember watching that scene and I'm like, first of all, this is some good acting going on right here. But second of all, that is such a true statement. Like in one way or another, all of us have dealt with some way of like some level of mental illness, even if it was like seasonal depression or like, you lost a loved one or like, and I mean like a close one, like a wife or like a parent or like a husband, something like that, or a child, which is even more unfathomable. But like, yeah, but like a lot of people like they deal with that and their grief then in that case is like, or depression is acceptable. Oh, well, you just lost something. It's okay for you to be depressed versus like, oh, well, you had a kid. Like this should be like the happiest moment of your life.
But no one realizes when you have a kid, you lose the entire part of yourself that was prior to that. So like there is a death. It's just not an obvious death. It's a metaphorical death. And like that's not as accepted in this culture as it should be. Because every single woman and father goes through it because you're never going to be the same ever.
Yeah.
After that child's born, ever. And you can't change that. And you can't try to go back. I tried.
And I think that's part of the problem in this country in general. Like you don't give fathers enough time off to like bond with their kid in those first few months. You don't have the mom doesn't have any time off either. Like you have somebody who's going through this extreme physical and mental, even spiritual like realignment or configuration, and you have 12 weeks to deal with it. 12 weeks over, you got to go back to work, or you're on like FMLA and you're getting paid what, like I think it's like half your salary or something, whatever it is. Like if your salary is 50,000, you're making 25,000. That's not enough money.
No,
like,
not at all. Not when you have to suddenly buy, say like you're not breastfeeding and you suddenly have to buy a bunch of formula. Are you kidding me? A bunch of diapers, a bunch of wipes, like all these things that you need to do. Now your salary's cut in half.
Yeah.
But you have another person to pay for it.
And God forbid that it was like during the formula shortage where you couldn't even get formula. Like you're driving all over God's creation to find.
I lived through that. Lord. You have no idea how many stores Brennan would go to, like just to get like, not even a lot. Like, I mean, and we were on like allergy based stuff. So it was impossible to get, because we couldn't just get like regular old Eddie milk formula. Like we could not get generic brands. Like we had to get the crap that was all belly safe and all of that. Oh God, it was horrible. So I feel all your mamas out there.
And like it's as a friend who does not have children who has to support a friend who does, like it's all about like empathy. That's literally, and compassion. That's really all you can do. Like you can't necessarily understand completely what they're going through because you don't have a child. Like you still get to go out and spend your money however you want to. You still get to sleep in. You get to literally do whatever. If you want to go and like, do what I did and like just decide to go to Savannah one day or like Charleston or like literally leave the country. You can do that. And like no one is gonna like, no, you don't have to ask somebody to watch your kids. You don't have to ask somebody to like, check on your house. You don't have to ask anybody to do anything. Like it's all whatever you want to do. And like I think that it really, the the people that you keep in your life after kids are the people who are actually like your friends. The people that actually support you and are actually there to see you win. Like I remember Ashley last year, yeah, because it's almost September again. Last year for her birthday, wanted to go out of the country. Like she was turning 30. She had never, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Oh well. Anyway.
Age is nothing but a number. Screw the age thing. I'm gonna be 30 this year and I'm stoked. Cannot wait to say 30 because after I turned 27, I didn't know which age I was. I forgot. Probably the pandemic and the kids, but you know.
Yeah. And she wanted to go out of the country because she had never been out of the country. And I literally volunteered. Well, she asked me. No, I didn't volunteer. She asked me, would I watch her kids for like, I don't know, I guess the week she was gone. And I did it. Like, it really was not that, like, and I'm not saying I do that for everybody's kids, but I think that if you're like, if you have friends who have children, like doing those kind of things is just kind of like what comes with it. Like I went to her like her daughters had a dance recital. I went to the dance recital. Like I remember when she was super young and Ava always wanted a freaking Peppa Pig thing. And Ashley was like, I'm not paying $50 for a toy. So like I'd pay for half of it. Like I think that's just like, and that's not like a brag on me moment, but it's just like if you are somebody's friend and you consider this person a close friend, I'm not saying like your acquaintance that you talk to once a year or like a cousin or family member, whatever. But like if this is somebody you consider like an important part of your life, like that's what showing up means. And I think so many people have gotten comfortable doing the bare minimum in all types of relationships that they don't like. When I remember, I'm not gonna say this. I just know that there are people who get upset when they realize that the friends in their life don't do the same things that other people's friends do. Like, oh, that's not fair that, you know, you have somebody who will like help take care of your kids, or like you have somebody that'll help you, like, you know, babysit them, buy them a gift, buy whatever you need. And it's like, if you don't have somebody like that in your life, like, what are you doing to prevent that? Like, are you being that kind of friend to somebody else?
Yes.
Like, you don't get those type of friendships just by being selfish. Like, why would I do something nice for you if you can't even do anything nice for me?
Like, and I think it's hard for people these days to even understand and remember what that type of selflessness is, because we are so in the wellness space these days. We're so focused on how do we feel and setting so many boundaries with everybody all the time that we think often that like setting those boundaries means like not having like fluidity within them sometimes. You know, there's times where it's like, okay, you know what? Like that my friend who like has done so much for me that I love to like my deepest core, it like needs me right now. And I might be overstretched sometimes, but you know what? They need me and like they're always there when I need them. So like you do it. And I think that that's where like the lack of so many deep friendships is these days, is that give and take. It's like everyone's wants to take, and what do they get out of everything as an individual? Because we've been awakened to that, which is fine. That's fine. That's good that we're finally like awakening to like, oh, what brings us joy? Like, do these people bring us joy, and toxic friendships and non-toxic friendships and whatever? But because we're so deep in the midst of all of that, I feel like it's so hard for people to actually trust people and just give without expecting that expectation and just trusting that that will come when it needs to come in time. Like, because we've been friends for so long, there have been chunks, you know what I mean, where like I support you and then a chunk goes by and like whatever, and then you need me, you know what I mean? And it's not going to be like this exact direct give and take, 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 you know what I mean? It's going to be like an ebb. It's like the ocean kind of, you know, the current's constantly changing. You don't know where it's coming from, how you expect it. You don't know how you're going to have to shift yourself when you're in there. And that's how like relationships are. You have to move with them as all the different energies change, because we all have these energies and we all have external relationships outside of just that one friendship that are going to affect ourselves as an individual, which then affect how we are in that friendship. You know what I mean? And so allowing space for like people to just be and not constantly fulfill that expectation is where you develop that deep trust. And that's where I feel like the bond can actually start, is with that trust. And then it's not so hard to do what you're saying, to just not think about it and to just say, oh my God, okay. Pay for you. Oh my God, pay for you, weirdo. Like
Yeah.
that. Like it's not even a thought. Oh, you need me to watch kids? Oh my God, duh. Put them over here. They're like, practically like my kids. They're our
Yeah.
cousins. Come on over. Kids, your cousins are coming over. You know what I mean? Like that, that's how that's the root. You know, that's the seed. That's how you plant that, is that trust and lack of expectation. And just back to you, Mela. God, I can never finish a thought, y'all.
Yeah, I think that the more why I appreciate this whole like wellness space that we, especially after the pandemic, we've entered, where, you know, people are like getting in touch with their feelings and are getting in touch with like, you know, childhood trauma and lifehood trauma and generational trauma and all that. Like, that's wonderful. But people have gotten to the point where they're so in tune with themselves, they're not in tune with anything else. Like, it's all about, oh, well, this makes me happy. This makes me feel good. Like, this is what I want to do. Okay, but is what you're going to want to do impacting somebody else? Like, if you go and do whatever this thing is you want to do, is it going to affect your relationships? Is it going to affect your own mental health? Like, is it actually good for you? Or is it just what you want to do in the moment because you have a problem with instant gratification? Like,
ooh, stop right there and preach that again. Do you have a problem with instant gratification? And you know what? I think that because a lot of us have ADHD now, and I have a couple theories on that, but because a lot of us have that, where everyone's dopamine seekers, they're like fulfillment seekers of just instant gratification, essentially. And when you do that, you are completely out of tune with everything around you. And it is so interesting that you voice this, because you're not like this yogi practitioner all the time. You're not like this like meditator all the time, you know, but you do practice certain things of wellness. And like, you don't have to be, you know, this like high, you know, vibrational, like woman in the woods, like lighting candles and having ceremonies to be super connected and have a high vibration. And I think it's just really interesting that in the wellness space right now, everyone is so me, because if you really read texts to, like, you know, books and listen to real people of wellness and like spirituality talk, it's not about just what makes you feel good. It's about how can you take your gifts that make you feel good and serve the entire ecosystem with them, the entire community, the entire world. Because at the end of the day, our energy gets put out and put back in and put out, put back in, put out, put back in. And that's how it works. So like, if you're just out there to serve yourself, that's where like it doesn't sustain itself. There's people that burn out choosing themselves all the time because it's not sustainable. You need to be serving in order to receive.
Yeah. What is it saying? Like, you can't fill, what is it? Something about you can't fill others' cups if yours is empty, something like that. Like, I think that, especially for moms, your whole like identity changes. And especially that first year, especially first year, first child, like your whole identity changes. And like, if you don't have people who are understanding of that, or can like, I guess really understanding of that is the best way to put it, like in your corner, it just makes it 10 times harder when this is already probably the hardest thing you're ever going to do. Like, you literally have, and I mean fathers too, like this isn't really, I guess, parenthood in general. Like, there's not even though there's all these books and Dr. Spock and all these other and like what to expect when you're expecting and like all these other books that you can read and they can give you like the medical insight and this insight and I had 10 kids, this is how I did it kind of thing. Like every single child is different. Everybody's like introduction to parenthood is different. And the only thing that's really common across the board is that this is a complete and like utter change of who you used to be. Like you have to be selfless. You have to understand. And I'm not saying that you just like completely like never do anything for yourself again, because that doesn't make you a good parent. That like that's kind of the antithesis to what it means to be a like well-rounded, healthy like parent. But I think that if you are someone who used to be completely selfish and now have to be like cognizant of other people when you're making decisions, that's a very hard change. And you don't have time, like you have the 9 months to adapt to it, but when the baby is actually here is when it actually gets real. Like no matter how much prep you did,
I mean, you really can't prep for something like that. I mean, you can sit there and be like, this is how I'm gonna be, but then you actually like have the kid and you live your life and like everyday interactions and reactions and all kinds of things that depicts who you're going to be and who you are. And so like you have to consciously choose when you're not sitting there just being like, this is who I'm going to be. You're sitting there in the moment like, oh my God, I have to choose to be the person I want to be. And like that's the hard change. Like, okay, if I'm going to be this type of mom, like I have to choose to react and interact those types of ways. And if you're the funny thing is like if you're not set up for that in the sense, so like I'm sassy, I'm reactive, and that's kind of how I've always been. Like I definitely am passive, but because I'm so passive, that's where the reactiveness comes in. It's like I'm a volcano. I can be dormant for so long and then I'll freaking just blow up on you. It's an air sign thing, but it's also just like a who I am type of thing. And I didn't want to be that way when I became a mom, but like I'm that way because like I can't just change. I've been changing over the last year, but it's taken me almost 3 years to get to be able to say this, and to be able to say like, okay, I'm actively trying. And when I do freak out, I'll like stop in the middle of it and be like, okay, no, we're going to switch it up. Even if my kid thinks I'm being weird, like I'm going to switch it up because it's not how I want to be. Yeah. And so it's definitely a lot of conscious choices. I definitely think that having your friends in your corner who support you, it's helpful because like Mela, we've said before, we're not afraid to tell each other, you're being this way or you're being that way, or I disagree with that, or, this way or the other. And it's never in a yucky or like rude, malicious type of way. It's just, hey, why don't you think about it this way? And there were many times where Amelia would be like, oh, well, think about this or think about that, or, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm being such a B word right now. Like, I should probably consider everyone else's feelings, or I should probably, just give myself a break and stop like damning myself for the one thing that I did wrong, because most likely they're not going to remember this or that, or it's not impacting them. It's not a core memory like I think it's going to be. Because like I literally am the kind of person that I'm like, oh yeah, out of my kids, it's going to impact them for the rest of their life. Oh, so I think that it's helpful to have those people in your corner that are doing that. Yeah. Time is the ticket, friends. Time is the ticket. It's all about time and just giving yourself that time. Your friends giving you the time, the space. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that like as a country, that's definitely something we need to like work on. And like
Yeah, because
We
I
need
mean, for Christ's sakes, we need time in the workplace too, right? Time from our friends, time for ourselves, time from work, time.
like we are
Shoot.
definitely a country who does not appreciate I don't know the words I'm looking for. Like we don't appreciate having vacations. We don't
Don't appreciate holiday.
like we work so much and like taking a vacation is like unheard of for so many people. Like there's people I know who have so many hours of PTO and they just like never take them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand, especially working in sales, like I understand like you not being in the office means you're not making money. I get it. But at the same day, like you are not as effective and of like and like as good at your job. We'll just cut that part out.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna totally cut that out.
Anyway,
Work your editing magic. I'm so sorry. I totally just turned the thing off.
you are not as effective or as good at your job if you don't ever take any time for yourself. Like you just get so burnt out, you get so irritated with the littlest things. Like you're not able to like handle things as they pop up the same way as when you're like you've had time to rejuvenate, you've had time to completely not think about this, you've had time to do other things. And in some instances maybe that's one day. Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe you just took a long weekend. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you went to the lake, you went to the beach, you went to like a new restaurant you've been meaning to try out. Like whatever it is, like do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the sooner this country kind of realizes that like if you want people to have kids, you kind of got to start like creating an environment that's like conducive to that, is when we will start seeing across the board so many like fundamental changes that like creates a better overall like life balance for people.
A
And
sustainable life, exactly.
yeah, and like there's a reason why there are other countries who have longer life expectancies than us.
Just about to say, I was just about to say that. I was about to say, look at France, look at Italy, look at these countries who take long lunches, long breakfasts, long like they don't go into work till 11 a.m. But they always get their stuff done
Yeah.
because you don't need that much time working if you're working really well with the time that you have. And that's the issue is we don't have just like in school. They're wondering why kids are freaking bouncing off the walls, being popped on medication because they can't sit for 8 hours in a freaking school. They're taking recess down to 20 minutes a day. Are you kidding me? I don't remember anything from school. But you know what I do remember actually? A lot of my classes that were outside. Because like it was sensory inviting, it was stimulating. I was like excited. It was interactive. And that's how we're all like that. When you're an adult, you don't just grow out of that. That's why you feel better when you go spend a day at the beach, when you go take a day and, go ride your bike or take a walk in the woods for Christ's sakes, nothing crazy. We all feel better because we're stimulating our senses. We're reconnecting to like what we are, which is nature. We are nature. We are not brick buildings. We are not computers. We are not AI technology. We're not that. We're human beings with cells, flesh, bones, blood, just like the deer, just like the birds, everything else. And so we sit here and we wonder why we're burnt out. You're working 80 hours a week. What do you mean? Of course you're burnt out. We shouldn't even be having like a 5-day work week, but I mean, our work scheduling is a whole nother situation. I think everything should be based on time and allowing people time to refresh themselves. I mean, think about the labor men. think about the guys who build buildings. If they had like a Wednesday off in the middle of like, they took 2 days and then took Wednesday off and then took 2 days, those 4 days that they worked, they could probably bust out a building so much faster than working like 6 straight days. Because physical labor is tiring. Like, I mean, just think about these things. It's crazy. Y'all, we all need time. Maternity leave, paternity leave. Time to heal our souls. Time to connect to the earth. Like, Jesus. Maybe we'll call this episode Time.
Time after time.
That's time a really good song. Time.
Every time I hear that,
actually,
I think of Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen it. I've always wanted to. Never have.
Hold on, let me look this up. Let me tell you where you can watch it. You need to watch this. Like,
I'm pretty sure it's on
right
Hulu.
Now. It probably is. Oh my God, it's not. You have to pay for it.
Oh, that's lame.
I'll find it. But yeah, like I think that the more that people are comfortable speaking about postpartum depression, more comfortable speaking about mental health, and the more like acknowledgement and like funding that we put towards these issues, the better it'll be across the board for all parents. And like we haven't even touched on the fact of like single parents. Like there are people, and it's not common, but there are people who are like single parents from birth. Like if God forbid the woman dies in childbirth, which for Black women is 3 times more likely.
Mm-hmm.
So if your partner dies in childbirth, now all of a sudden you're a single parent. You had this whole plan where you're going to, raise a child together, and you had different things that you wanted to do. And like now you don't even have that person who not only we're going to spend the rest of your life with. Talk about mourning 2 deaths, but now you are a single parent to this child that you like it doesn't come with a manual. Like you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that as a society as well, that we always say like, oh, it's single mothers. There's a lot of single dads out there, and good ones at that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that you should let's not take away from the fact that single parents in general, like moms or dads, are doing double the work
with less support.
Mm-hmm. Even if they have a good friend group, even if they have a good family group, like you literally plan to raise this child with someone, and now that person is gone. Like you plan to spend your life with this person, now that person is gone. And I think that it's hard for us as a society for us to grasp that, because again, like I said, we are very selfish and very like, okay, well, how does this serve me? And like there's no like support for single parents. It's all like it's always like some stigma associated with it. Oh, well, if you like see a single mom in the grocery store, it's like, oh, well, you should have, picked a better baby daddy, or, you should have done this, or you should have done that. But like, you don't know anything about this person. Like, you don't know anything that they've gone through between now and where you see them in the grocery store.
Yep.
And then the thing is, though, it's ironic because if it's a single dad, it's like, oh, well, you're a single dad. Like to women, that's like attractive. Like you get more like, oh, you're a single dad and you take care of your kid. And oh my God, God forbid it be like, you're a girl dad. Oh my God, you have a girl and she's like well-adjusted and like, she's not, hanging from the rafters. Oh my God, like that is so attractive. Like I want to date you. Whereas like if you're a single mom, it's like, oh, well, you should have picked a better baby daddy, or you should have like, you should have kept your legs closed, or you shouldn't have done this. And like, so not only are you dividing single moms versus singles dads, one of them, and I'm not saying like that's always the case, or it's always positive to be a single dad. Like I don't want it to sound like being a single dad is easy, because it's not. But like one of them is more socially acceptable in a sense than the other. So even this group of people who should be rallying against or rallying around each other,
Mm-hmm.
It's still not there. Like, you don't even get support from other people in your subgroup
Yes.
from a
Like your group's
sociological standpoint.
divided just because
Yeah,
of
from
that. Yep.
from like a sociological standpoint, like, you don't even have your own subgroup to support you, because like your actual lived experiences are so different. And it's like, when are we going to realize that, like, we stigmatize so many people and so many subgroups of people and subcultures and whatever you want to call them in this country, and then we always look so surprised when, like, you get the disenfranchised youth, or you get the people shooting up the schools, or you get like all of these issues that really come down to the fact that, like, their parents had to work 5 jobs because, they couldn't, their state didn't support Medicaid, or the state didn't support, early what is it, early education, like Head Start stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I sent Steph a video the other day where it was like, if you're going to be pro-life, you need to support a child or a human being, whatever you want to call it, from the womb to the tomb. And that is the best, like, example I've ever heard of that. And that's
Chills.
why I've always been like, I am pro-choice, because pro-life to so many people just means that I support a child when it's in the womb. I don't care if the mom's 10 years old. I don't care if she was raped. That's a child. That trumps everything else. How demeaning is that to a woman? How demeaning is that to the child? How demeaning is that to, like, the overall experience of bringing life into this world?
Mm-hmm.
And this is really a completely different topic, but I think it
We
really
will get
ties.
on that at one point, guys.
I also think it ties into postpartum depression. Like, imagine
Mm-hmm.
being that child. How depressed are you going to be when your government, your state, who shouldn't really be involved in this discussion in the first place, is telling you, oh well, you need to have this child. I understand that you're only 10 years old. I understand that you're literally still in elementary school, but your body says that you're capable of having this child, so go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Most kids in elementary school are barely able to explain their own emotional, like, intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
They're still learning how to express themselves and still learning how to have conversations about what they're feeling and what's going on with them. And you're like, oh, well, you're old enough to be a parent. And then you again
Mm-hmm.
wonder why we have so many other issues.
Well, it's kind of a joke because it's like in that type of situation, that child most likely would obviously give up that child for adoption. And then what? Because what are those pro-lifers doing for those children in the system? Absolutely nothing. They're just stocking them up in the system like they're collecting them, little collectibles. And then they sit there and they go nowhere and they stay there and they become depressed
And the
people in
cycle
society. I
continues.
mean, not everybody, obviously, but it's a very common thing. You know, you went your life unwanted in the system and you get out at 18 and you're apparently an adult. You apparently
Yeah.
can fend for yourself. So it's like, it's just a cycle. It's literally a recycling symbol of
Yeah.
negative shit stuff.
And I don't know if anyone out there has watched the I think it's Disney or Pixar, one of a movie, Luck. I think it's like Luck or Lucky. The girl in the main character of the movie was in a foster home, and it, like, talks about her childhood. It talks about how, like, she thought she was going to be adopted and then she never got adopted. And but most of the movie is about her being 18, and, like, how does she deal with being on her, like, being 18, no longer having somebody, like, around her to support her, really, no longer having, like, really a stable established home, because this is really where
Mhm.
you live for the past 18 to however many years. Like,
Mhm.
I think that everyone just assumes that adoption is this, like, wonderful answer without really considering how does that infect or affect the child. Like, there's so many moving pieces to parenthood and motherhood and fatherhood, and, like, we don't support any of them. It's
Mhm.
just like, you're a woman, you're supposed to you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have a baby, hopefully more than one, and you're supposed to just do it with a smile on your face and never, have any complaints about it. Oh, you're going to be a dad? Perfect. You got married, you have the kids, now you just got to work every day.
Right.
Like,
Like,
oh,
okay.
like, and then, like, oh, or like the simple thing of, like, oh, when a father watches the kid, it's babysitting, but when a mom watches the kid, it's like just being a parent. Like that, even that idea right there, it doesn't make any sense to me. They're your children. You're not babysitting. You're watching your children. Like, we've got to stop excusing crappy behavior and start supporting parents across the board, from like when the baby is born to when, you know, when they go to college, or even then, like, they still need help. But like, in terms of those very fundamental years, like, we have got to start supporting people so that we have better, well-rounded people running the country, running the world.
Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, they don't I mean, how long has the saying, the kids are the future? Like, that saying has been around forever. And how has it not clicked in people's heads yet? What we do with our kids affects what's going to happen within our country. It's not like, oh, what you do with your kids, it's like, set them up for life. It's like, yeah, okay, set them up for life, but like, literally set them up for life, because those are the ones, one of those kids, one of the kids in somewhere in this school is going to be the president, and, you know, whatever year. So teach it right. Give it space, give it time, allow it feelings. Let it connect with its parents. Why are we making parents have to work 30,000 jobs so they can't be home with their children, and the nanny gets to raise their children, or the school teachers get to raise their children, and then you don't even know your kid by the time you get it back? That's why I think so many parents are also homeschooling, because of the fact that, like, it's just, you don't know what's being taught. Everything is so, like, across the board, you know, you got some schools teaching one thing, you got some schools teaching another thing. It's like Catholic schools are scary because I don't know what they're teaching.
And we could do a whole episode on this, because I definitely have some thoughts on education.
Add that to the roster.
But
we should have some teachers come on here, some teacher friends.
Ashley is a teacher. We can do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like when we creepishly smile at each other, like we like have some wheels turning.
Yeah, there's so much to touch on that one conversation. But I think that the best way to have well-rounded people is just have parents that are well-rounded, and that includes mental health, and it includes addressing postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis. We didn't even touch on that. Like,
yeah, I mean, I borderline had that, y'all. Like, it was like I literally, like, I just remember like sitting there, stopping myself from like driving my car into trees. Like, I would go like 80 miles an hour on a back road in Delaware, which is like not necessarily a good idea because there's deer everywhere and there's like swirls and turns and stuff like that. So it was definitely, but I did it consciously. Like, I was like, oh, I'm just doing this because I want to just feel like I'm alive, because I feel like I'm dying. And that was pretty much what it was. And there was a lot of shit that I did to just feel alive and not feel like I was dying, because energetically I felt like I was dying. It was very interesting. But, you know, I feel like talking about it is the best thing. And that's why I feel like I needed to come on here today and just like drop the load right there. Like, I didn't even start off, like, I didn't even ease into it. I was just like, look, guys, like, we're just going to drop it. Because I don't know how else to start a topic like this other than just to bear it all, because that's how it is. It's a heavy topic, and you just have to drop the rock to somebody and let it out, without fear of judgment, because at the end of the day, no one can judge you. No one can, unless they've necessarily been there, and they also can't judge you then, and they wouldn't judge you then because they also know that no one understands what you're feeling, because no one understands what they're feeling. Because everyone's postpartum journey is different. And so, like, I bonded with people because they understood, because they had like minor postpartum depressions, but like never to like the level of mine. But having those connections and talking to people, like other moms, about it, and like, because that's honestly how I made a lot of my mom friends. I was like, look, guys, I'm super depressed. I'll never forget, this is a little side thing, but my my one friend, Alexis, across the street. She's a neighbor. I was sitting in my car and I was sobbing hysterically because I just hated my life. Like, I'd just come back from, like, you know, driving like a mad woman, like listening to depressing music and just like sitting there sobbing, right? I was in my car for a long time, and she comes over, and it's like 9 o'clock at night. She comes over, she knocks on the window, and she's like, and we're not really that close of friends at this time. She knocks on my window and she goes, you've been sitting in your car a long time. Is everything okay? And I'm like, oh my God, like, thanks for checking me. And then, like, got all emotional. And I'm like, yes, said no, like, I'm just depressed and blah, blah, blah. And like, we started talking. And that's literally how we became friends, pretty much. Like that. From there, we kind of just like kept talking. And she was pregnant at the time. So then she had her baby. And just from there, just continuing to be open. You know what I mean? And like, my openness also allowed her to be open when she was experiencing things. And I think that that's the most important thing. And the gist of this entire episode is to keep that topic awake and open, and people not afraid to open their mouths and open their hearts and like let their crap out, because that's what all it is. It's crap. It's crap. It's like black gunk trapped inside of you. Let the word vomit out. Just get it out. Because the more you talk about it, the more you have the time and the space, the more you create. Talking about it allows you to create and mold out your time and your space to be able to have that time, because then everyone is aware. So like, if you do something weird, like retreat or get angry or this or that, people are like, maybe there's something else going on, and they're not going to attack you or make you feel any type of way. It's just like, oh shoot, she's probably dealing with something else. And then not feeling ashamed of it is what allows it to shed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, if you are enjoying this podcast, follow us we're on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe, like, comment on our YouTube videos. And like, we will continue to drop new episodes every Tuesday. We will have a drink of the week on Thursdays. Oh, my friend actually said that she would create a drink for us.
I saw that. I'm so excited.
She also,
like, is this going to be a signature drink, or is this like she just wants us to do something fun?
I mean, we can make it a signature drink.
She also has a little cocktail list.
She also wants to come on the podcast. So I totally feel like if she comes on, we should do like dating in the like Gen Z era. Cause she's
she Gen Z?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Cause she's like 25, 20.
Perfect.
Something like that.
Perfect.
And she's just out here, you know, living her best dating app life at the moment.
Oh gosh, yes. So let me hear about it.
It is so funny.
For 11 years, so I'm like, want to hear about what all these kids are doing out there. With my granny glasses.
But yeah, I think that it'll definitely, if anyone like has listened to this episode and has like, this has resonated them in any way, or like has any additional comments or feedback they want to give, please, like I said, all of the platforms we're on, TikTok, Instagram, the book, like, just like, you know, send us a message. That's a good movie. Not the live action, the old one, the OG.
Yeah.
Send us a message, send us a comment, whatever, you know, however public.
Like that. Wait. Why is it so hard? I feel like I'm like doing that Disney Channel thing where they can't say it. Like, subscribe, share. Oh my God. Isn't that what you're supposed to say? Like, subscribe, and share to my channel. Yeah. Yeah,
pretty much. I just hate when people do that. It just sounds so fake to me.
It does. It's corny.
But yeah, and like, it could be as private or public as you want it. Like, if you want it to stay private, like, just include that in your comment. And yeah, we will just continue this conversation online on the interwebs. Yeah, I think this has been a Tea and Tequila podcast.
I love it. I'll call you next week.
Bye.
Bye.